Hello, this is Leah here from Blissful Being. This is the fifth part of my business mentoring program, and we're talking all about Premier training. So what it means to get to the rank of Premier and how you go about getting there. So I'm just going to share a slide with you. Just 1 second. So here we go, Premier training. So to get to the level of Premier, you are likely already at the level of Elite and you've watched the previous Elite video all about how to get there. So the next step is getting to Premier. So Premier holds 2 executive legs, and executive is 2,000 in volume. Okay, so you need 2 legs of 2,000 with an overall volume of 5,000. So you might have 3,000 in one leg, 2,000 in the other, or you might have 2,000 and 2,000 and maybe you've started a third leg and you've got 1,000 in there. So it doesn't matter where that extra 1,000 is, but you need to have 5,000 in overall volume. You also need to have personally enrolled the qualifying wellness advocate in each of those legs. So if you jumped into this and you were very lucky in that your upline had placed some people underneath you, which can sometimes happen, sometimes it doesn't, and it's an absolute blessing. If someone has placed an enrollment underneath you, that is a blessing because that means that you are getting volume towards your rank advancement. So if your upline has placed somebody under you so you're not the current enroller of the person in your first leg, then you cannot rank off of them. So you need to go, just go back. So you need to go down to the first person that you enrolled. So to rank advance, you don't have to rank advance off the first person in your tree. So if you've got one person here that somebody else enrolled and another person that your upline enrolled, and then here there's someone that you enrolled, then you rank advance off that person there. So you don't have to rank advance off that first person. It can be anywhere. One of my rank advancements is actually about 20 levels deep, which is bad placing by me, but that's okay in the long run because I can still rank advance off of her. There is sometimes a possibility of your upline handing over an enrollment of the person up higher, but that's very, very circumstantial, and your upline is only going to do that if that benefits them in that they can then rank advance off your rank advance. So don't ever ask someone to hand somebody over. That's really not the way that this works, because if someone hands an enrollment over to you, that's huge deal and extremely lucky. So I've had one enrollment handed over to me, but it didn't end up being a builder. So, to hand someone over and they end up being a big builder is a huge feat. So, I've built my entire organization from my own personal enrollments. I do have some people that have been placed in my team, but they're not qualifying legs for me anymore. So it is a huge gift. So please don't ask or feel like you deserve an enrollment to be handed to you. It is absolutely the decision of your upline, and they will act in their best interest, because this is a business basically. So I hope that didn't sound harsh. I just want that to be clear. So you will rank advance off the first person in that leg that you personally enrolled. Okay. Below them needs to be 2,000 in volume. So if you watched my previous video and you were planning to get to Elite the way that I encourage people to do, then you will likely already have 2 legs building. So I might I don't need to draw it. So I advise when you're going for Elite that you position 2 legs. You start off 2 legs going, so you're building them. So then when you reach the rank of Elite and you're going for Premier, you've got your structure there. So Premier is the first level that structure actually comes into play, and it actually matters where those enrollments go and where they're sitting. Okay, so it's not ideal if you've got 3 legs going at this stage. Obviously, that's future planning and you're going to set yourself up for silver. But if those 3 legs were consolidated into 2, you're going to get to Premier a lot faster, obviously. So I advise to continue just building and solidifying those 2 legs and looking out for sharers and builders. So you always need to make your team aware of the business opportunity within doTERRA. If they don't know, then they can't ask you for help. So making sure that you're in constant contact with your enrollments and, you know, understanding where they're at. If they have a little niggly interest, talk them into holding a class, because if they've got that little bit of spark there, once they hold a class and they see the financial benefit for themselves, also how easy it is, how empowering and satisfying it is to help other people and support your friends in using these amazing oils, they are, you know, most of the time absolutely hooked. And people don't understand how this system works really until they have a class. So once they hold a class and see that, you know, anyone from that class is their own enrollment and they get all of the commission from that, they just, what we call, wake up, and they're just like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe that I just got like $200 from that class and you did it, you know, like, so really encouraging people to host classes that you will come and present is absolutely key in finding builders. And of course, the biggest part of that is making sure that they hold the enrollment for anyone that enrolls at their class. And we can talk more about that later. That's just doTERRA ethics. So getting there. Hold regular classes. If you're trying to get to the level of Premier, it depends on the speed that you're going. But if you want to get there quickly, I suggest holding at least 4 classes a month, holding classes, presenting classes for interested others in your team, like I just mentioned. Supporting your current, spelled current wrong, enrollees onto LRP. So you can never progress in doTERRA if you're just enrolling and not supporting your current team members. So for you to rank advance, you need to obviously be enrolling all of the time, but you also need to be supporting your current team members on getting on our LRP loyalty rewards program, because LRP is volume in your team. So if you don't have anyone on LRP and at the beginning of the month your volume goes back to 0, then how are you supposed to grow from elite to Premier, from 3,000 to 5,000? You have to enroll 5,000 PV worth of people. Whereas if you've got, 10, 15 people on LRP who are doing 100 PV orders, there's nearly half of your volume there, and then you've got to, you're enrolling half of that amount of people. So you really need people to be on LRP for you to continue to jump. So teaching people about LRP is really important, about the benefits. So I'm always posting things on my page about, I get free shipping with LRP because I get points back. I got these products for free this month because I did an LRP. I've got this many points in my account. Making sure people know the benefits of LRP and are not afraid of it, because that's generally, people are afraid of it in the beginning until you debunk all of those myths and get them excited about LRP. So mentoring prospective sharers and builders, and the best way to do that is, like I mentioned, presenting a class for them. With their friends, and them seeing the benefits firsthand of what they get and then explaining to them. So share, enroll, support, and grow. So you can't grow unless you are consistently sharing, consistently enrolling, and consistently supporting your current team. So as far as structure goes for getting to Premier, obviously we just need our 2 legs. I'll just show you on the whiteboard. So obviously we only really need our 2 legs of volume. So here's you. You need to have personally enrolled the 2 people that you are ranking off, and they're not always going to be on your front line. Like I mentioned before, just reiterating, they're not always going to be on your front line. They might be further down, but this is just, an example. So you've grown, while you're building to elite, you've been growing these 2 legs here, which is fantastic. This person's woke up and decided to have a class. So that person's helping you to grow your organization as well, which is fantastic. This person over here might have hosted a class, so they're going to go out here and they're going to have their class people there, which is fantastic. Meanwhile, you're still built, this leg here still needs a bit of volume, so you're still building that leg yourself. So your organization can get quite wide, which is okay. And then perhaps you're at the level of 2,000. It's probably going to be more people than that, obviously. So maybe you had to continue growing this one as well. And that's fine. So, all you need is that 2 legs to get to 2,000 in volume. So they might branch off several times, and that's fine as long as this person up here is holding 2,000 in volume. And the other really crucial point is that your qualifying leg needs to have an LRP of 100 PV or more in that month. So LRP, I might write that. So your qualifying leg needs to be personally enrolled by you, and they need to have done a 100 PV LRP. Okay, so you need to be having, this is where you need to start having serious discussions with your team members. So, you know, this person, his name might be Jane. Hi, Jane. I know you're loving the oils, and I know that you do your LRP regularly. I'm just letting you know that I've been placing people under you, and that's just the way that it works in doTERRA. So you will be getting uni-level commissions from these people in the future if you stay on LRP. And if you're interested in sharing the oils, you've got a huge head start because I've actually already started a huge team under you. A conversation like that often switches people on straight away. If not, and they're just interested in, you know, they say, oh, look, I'm really not interested in the business, but I love my oil, so I'm happy to do an LRP order, then that's great. Otherwise, you move on to the next person. Explain the same thing. Explain that if they do a 100 PV order, they're going to end up getting commissions from the people that you've placed under them. So both of these, likewise with this guy, he needs to have a 100 PV LRP as well for him to count as your executive leg. So I hope that makes sense. In terms of starting a third leg, I didn't, and I don't personally suggest starting a third leg just yet until you have consolidated Premier, okay? So you can obviously start thinking about it. Sometimes people like to put a family member on their front line. So if you've got your mum or something and you think that, you know, sometimes it's good because you can actually control and be like, Mum, you need to do an LRP order this month so I can get there. You can put your mum on your front line, and then you're going to build under her, and then your mum might end up getting oils for free, which is awesome. I did that for my mum. She gets lots of commission now, which is really cool. And she never has to pay for her oils. So that's a good option too, and you can whack your mum out on your front line, or your brother or your sister or something. Otherwise, I just continue in growing these first 2 legs until you've generally consolidated Premier a little bit. So consolidate means obviously at the end of the month and the start of a new month, you go back to 0. So consolidating means getting to Premier again. So if you get to Premier once and then you start putting all of your energy and effort into your third leg, then these 2 legs probably aren't going to get to the executive level on their own. So, you know, you're not even going to get to Premier because you were thinking too far ahead and going for silver. So I say keep building these, because to get to silver, you actually need these guys to be elite. So they need to be 3,000 in volume. So it's okay if they get to 2,000 and then you still put a few more people in there or have classes in there for other people, because you actually need it to get to 3,000 in volume. As always, if someone comes to you and they're really keen on the business, they've bought an Empower kit, they've booked in a class, they are legitimately serious, then of course you would put them on your front line. Then you don't need to put any energy into them yet. So obviously you're going to help them run a class and teach them all about that, but you're not going to place personal enrollments in here yet. You're going to continue bulking up your legs to make sure you're consolidating Premier and setting yourself up for silver. But in the meantime, this person over here that was so keen on building, they're actually starting to build that third leg for you. Okay? And then once you've got these guys really close to elite, that's when you might have to put a few personal enrollments in here to bulk that one up and get that to elite, and then you're silver. So, yeah, that's really important. And I hope that made sense. And I'll go over more of this getting to silver in the next video. But obviously, you've always got to be thinking about the next rank. So I don't start personally enrolling in a third leg until I'm close to consolidating Premier and I'm sitting really good in Premier. Otherwise, I might go back to elite because I haven't been putting enough volume in these legs and supporting these legs enough. However, always if a builder comes into contact with you and is super, super keen, showing that they're actually keen by the actions that they're taking, then you're going to frontline them, teach them how to do the business, and let them start building that leg for you. So that's my advice on getting yourself to Premier. I hope that made sense. So you just need 2 legs, solidify those, personally enroll people in there, obviously, and you'll be there. So Premier is pretty good pretty awesome level to get to. You're generally making, you know, $600 to $800 a month, which is pretty good supplementary income. So usually unless you're building really quickly or a stay-at-home mum or something, generally you'll have a part-time job at the same time as you're at the premier level. But it depends on your circumstances. If you're a stay-at-home mum, then that's a really great boost of bit of extra cash for you. If you are working part-time, then that's an extra little boost until you can get to the next level. So join me in my next video, which is talking all about getting to the rank of silver. Thanks, guys.